right.
Here we go. Episode 2. It's good. Survived episode 1. You got any feedback on episode 1 yet, Eddie?
Yeah, I've gotten a little bit of feedback. You know, I think the people that saw it enjoyed it.
Yeah, all 3 of them seem to have a real nice experience.
Yeah, I've heard from at least 3 people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. How was your holiday season there, Michael? You have to say holidays now because you can't say Christmas.
I said Merry Christmas to one of the guys in Derek's office last week, and he said, Mike, I'm Jewish, so I hope you had a Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah to you as well. But it was good. We did 4 Christmases this year. So we did a Christmas with my wife's extended family at our house. We then did a Christmas with my wife's immediate family at our house. We then did Christmas with my family, with the 2 kids at our house. And then we did Christmas with my mom and dad at our house. So 4 Christmases. More stressful than 1 Christmas.
4 times as stressful, probably.
Yeah. By the time my parents came through, I had the flu. I was just freaking out of it. So I think I was just in the haze, just kind of floating around, which was better for me, I think.
Yeah, more low-key that way.
How about you?
I had 3 Christmases.
3 Christmas, okay.
Yeah. My wife's parents got divorced, so they have separate Christmases. So we did Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, Christmas with just the family at the house, and then Christmas Day, Christmas at Kelly's dad's house. So 3 Christmases. You got to speak
By 1.
Yep. I want to talk about New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Before we get to that,
agenda. Yep.
You mentioned stress. I think when you're a kid, Christmas is nothing but joy and laughter and magic.
Magic. It should be.
But as an adult, it's quite stressful. And the number one reason that I think Christmas is so stressful now?
Because the house is a mess.
No.
We don't know what's going to be on the menu.
No.
We don't know what time people are going to show up.
No.
We don't know what time people are going to leave.
No.
Then we got to clean up for Christmas number 3.
No.
Okay, why?
The damn elf on the shelf.
Oh.
Who came up with that shit?
I don't know. It is the worst idea of all time. Christmas, the magic of Christmas is hard enough to maintain over time. Why the hell would you make it more difficult? You talk even just about teaching your kids how to be honest. Then we spend the year saying, you better behave, otherwise the man in the red suit from the North Pole isn't going to bring you the shit that you want. But that's hard enough. So my son's 9 now. He's in 3rd grade, and he he believes in Santa Claus, and I love it. It's magical, right? But it's our time with him is running low, where he still has that magical belief, and rather than just maximizing and going all in
with the fat guy in the red suit,
on the magical sled who's going to deliver presents to every little kid who believes in him all around the world tonight.
Which is fairly hard to believe that guy can get to everyone in one night.
One night. Yep, up and down the chimney, eat cookies at every single house, feed the reindeer the carrots, drink the milk at every single house. Believe that. Oh, and then also we've got this little magical plastic elf who moves around every night.
Yeah.
Every night to someplace new, and he has cameras in his eyeballs, and he's watching you also, so believe that too.
And reporting back to Santa.
To the big man in the red suit.
Yeah, so anyone who's familiar with Elf on the Shelf, I think there were 2 mornings where my boy Jack was like, why didn't the elf move? I'm like, oh, shit. And then the anxiety goes up a notch. And then I had 2 nights where about 2 in the morning, I woke up and I was like, the elf on the shelf. I had to go move him again in the middle of the night. I think we should do away with the elf on the shelf. There's already enough mystery and magic with Christmas as it is. We don't need that little guy.
No, and it adds nothing. The kids, when I was growing up, Santa was always listening. Shit, it says it in the song. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows if you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good, so you
move the fucking
good
elf
for goodness sake. I told my wife I want to get rid of the elf this year, but then it was wrapped up in some Christmas pictures, and
You
it
got
was
spotted.
and the kids were opening up the Christmas pictures, and then the elf came with the pictures this year. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
The elf spent the last week leading up to Christmas by our little Christmas countdown in the kitchen.
In the same
'Cause
spot.
after I didn't move him for 3 nights, I'm like, kids, you must have a good spot to hear you from here. It's right underneath your bedroom. So I think he's just going to camp out here until Christmas. And then, Christmas morning. So then the story goes, then he rides back to the North Pole with Santa Claus on Christmas morning, right? Assuming that you remember that he's supposed to disappear on Christmas mornings. The kids are opening up their gifts on Christmas. My wife's got the camera out. She's taking videos, Christmas morning, and someone said the word elf, and then the light bulb goes on in my head. The son of a bitch is still standing over there.
And he's
by the
supposed to go back
countdown.
to the North
He was
Pole
supposed
on
to
Christmas
be
Day.
gone
That's
already.
what it says in
Supposed
the
to be gone.
instructions.
Oh, I read them 10 years ago, and so I slide off camera and into the kitchen where he's hanging out by the little countdown, and I put the damn elf in my pocket.
Decapitated
I zipped
him.
my pocket up, and I walked around with an elf in my pocket for the next 2 hours. A little jingle bell going off every now and again when I move too quickly. So I could do without the elf, but I guess it adds to the holiday magic, Edward.
Yeah.
So,
I wasn't feeling the magic so much this year.
No, at 2 a.m.
But you did bring up a good point. We are trying to teach, I think every parent tries to teach their kids to be honest, and it's okay to make mistakes and screw up. But as long as you're honest about it,
Yep, you'll be in less trouble.
you'll be in less trouble. And then we tell them this tale of Santa and basically force them to be good. Otherwise,
for goodness sake,
the made up character who's bringing them presents won't show up.
Yeah.
And it's all a farce.
yeah, lie. Yeah,
It's a lie.
it's a lie. Yeah,
So anyway, it's an interesting thing in itself.
magical lie though.
It's a magical lie. Yeah.
It is what it is.
So here we are in 2020, Mike.
It is
2020.
new year, new me, baby.
Mm-hmm.
You heard that a lot?
Well, I've read it a lot on Facebook.
Yeah.
People like to post how terrible 2019 was and how 2020 is going to be so much better, which I think is interesting because if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. I don't think the year has too much to do with anything.
At a wrestling event last weekend, and I'm a bad guy. All right, so you see the video or you hear anything that I say, I'm playing a character. Right.
I actually thought you've been playing a character for the last 15 years or so. Have you not been?
Is
that really you?
Different character, but playing a character nonetheless. And so I had to talk about what me and my crew of wrestlers are going to do for 2020. And I said something along the lines of, well,
they're going to wrestle?
Well, they're going to wrestle. I'm not going to wrestle.
Okay.
I hope.
What else is there in terms of plan of attack?
Well, they're going to win some title
number
belts.
one, wrestle.
Wrestle and win. Wrestle, win, get rewarded with the championship belt. That's the point.
It's all about the belt?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent.
The pursuit of the belt.
Pursuit of the belt is what it's about.
Yeah.
It's all about the chase. But I had to say some mean things to the crowd because I'm a bad guy.
Right.
And I said, well, you fat asses are all making New Year's resolutions to get off your couch and to get a new job and to go to the gym and so on and so forth. Start your diet. We're going to make a New Year's promise that we're going to win some gold. But it's funny because a lot of what I said while I was being mean and I was being a bad guy, it's a lot of how I feel about New Year's resolutions. It's what's really different. We talked last week about Frank, right? A leopard doesn't change its stripes.
Yeah. Do you have any New Year's resolutions? Speaking of the nonsense of it all.
No, I sure don't. Nope. I've got a new set of goals. A new set of goals for the new year.
That's good.
Just reevaluate, see where you're at, and figure out what the plan is. Moving forward. But I get a new set of goals at the end of the week, and at the end of the month, and then at the end of the day on some level.
Sure.
It's a process. How about yourself? New Year's resolutions.
No, I kind of gave up on those a while ago.
Eddie 2020, and then no plans for Eddie 2020.
I mean, not because it's a new year, just, because there's things that need to get done more than anything. But how was your New Year's Eve? Was back in the day, New Year's Eve was a big night for me.
I did.
This year, I guess I'm being rude. I just asked you about yours, and I'm telling you about mine.
I want to hear about yours.
I was in bed by 11 o'clock, and I fell asleep 3 times before midnight. And then the third time, Kelly woke me up 10 seconds before midnight. So I was present for the new year.
Good.
Which was good.
What time the kids go to bed?
9 o'clock, something like that. The twins allegedly went to sleep before that, but they didn't.
They went to bed, but sleep is different.
Correct.
We went to our neighbor's house. The kids ran around like maniacs. Everyone was awake at midnight. I got them some Welch's sparkling grape juice, so they did their little midnight toast with their kids' champagne, they call it. And then we were home by 1 o'clock. Walked across the yard, across my driveway into my house, and then I'll tell you, I did do a little reflecting, Edward. I did. And I sat on the couch. Everyone went to sleep, and I watched, Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen there on CNN. They were replaying the ball drop in Times Square, like 2020. I said, all right, so it's a big one, I guess. So 10 years ago, in the last decade. So I remember 2010 New Year's. I was here in Atlanta. I was living in Kansas City. Came down to visit my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and we went down to the Atlanta Underground and we watched the peach drop.
Oh.
We're a bit of fish out of water, but it was fun. We watched it. We experienced it. I did it once. I don't know that I'll ever do it again. So I said, all right, so what about 10 years before that? New Year's 2000. And New Year's 2000 was something I hadn't thought about in probably 20 years. But at New Year's, I was in college. I was on the roof of the garage.
As you do.
Yeah, that's what you do. And I had a Roman candle as the clock was approaching midnight.
Was it Italian?
It was Roman.
Okay.
Similar. And we were having a party. We were having a college house party to celebrate the year 2000. Remember the year 2000, people were scared that the computers were going to blow up, or you wake up in the next morning, you're going to have no money in their bank account. I wouldn't worry about that because I had no money in my bank account anyway. So I was going to wake up and it was going to be Tuesday or whatever the hell the day was. And I remember thinking as I'm standing on the roof of the garage, well lubed up for the day, the night. And I was like, I don't feel like anybody else at this party is having as much fun.
They're not
as
partying
I'm having.
hard enough.
Like they need to get with
They need
it.
to
Like
party
this is
like
like a
it's
new millennium.
1999.
Exactly, right? And so I started looking around, and I was out there. My buddy Biggie was down on the ground because he wasn't much of a climber, as you can imagine.
Stays low.
Yeah, and I'm looking into the house, and I can see the garage is separate from the house, and I could see into the kitchen. We have a big sliding door. I could see into the kitchen where the party was going. We had about 30 people over. There's people sitting at the kitchen table, like playing cards. There's people
Being
socializing. Lame. Yeah, lame. Like I'm on the roof with a Roman candle, and you're sitting here playing Go
Taking
Fish.
it to the next level.
Exactly. So I did what any normal person would do. I said, I'm going to shoot the Roman candle into the house. And the sliding door.
The
was
Roman
open.
Candles shoot.
They do, yeah.
So isn't it just one?
No, they'll
consistent.
Shoot.
Stream?
No. It's like balls. Puff, 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 puff. Right.
Ah.
And it's 4 or 5 shots or whatever per candle. And so I'm trying to aim into the sliding door. The first shot hits the side of the house. The third shot hit the screen and then the sliding door, but the door was open. And then I finally got one into the house, which I thought was amazing. You can imagine
that's good.
the people
Accuracy.
whose noses this fireball flew past were sitting there playing gin rummy or whatever the hell they were playing. I shot a firework, went across the table, like in front of all of them, into the kitchen, onto the floor, exploded all over the place, burnt a massive hole in the carpet in the kitchen. Everyone was pissed at me. They did not see the humor in my exploits there. And so I was thinking about this the other night. It's been 20 years. I lived in that house. It was me and 5 other guys. So it was a disaster. But I was like, you know what? It's been 20 years. I probably owe these guys an apology. So I brought up their numbers on my phone, and a lot of these guys I haven't talked to very much over the years. And I sent it. I could probably my phone's over there, but hey guys, I'm reflecting here. It's been 20 years. I think it's about time I apologize. for shooting the Roman candle into the kitchen and lighting the carpet on fire.
Better late
and
than never.
costing us our deposit and all that stuff. And it was funny because of the 5 other guys whose numbers I had, 4 of them still have the same number. One of the guys, I guess his number is now owned by some young girl, and she was super pissed. She's like, "Take me out of this group," because now it's 2:00 in the morning, and I'm shooting text but all the other guys, they start chiming in and they're laughing and telling stories.
That was nice.
It was great, and they accepted my apology, which was good. One of my buddies out in Boise, Idaho now, he ended up FaceTiming me, and we did a New Year's shot on FaceTime at 2 a.m. It was great. A great connection. The apology was accepted. I did.
So moral of the story is doing really stupid stuff brings people together.
It brings people together, and it gives you something to talk about 20 years later.
You know what? I hadn't thought about New Year's 2000 in a while, but for the new millennium, I actually went to Italy with my parents, my sister,
Rome
her
or Italy?
boyfriend. No, it was we went skiing in Italy somewhere.
Rome.
It begins with a G. I forget. Northern Italy. And interesting story. So while we were there for the 2000 celebrations, evidently I hadn't worn my ski salopettes in a while. So when I put them on, they were really tight and small.
Pants? Those are ski pants?
Ski pants.
Okay,
But they're called salopettes officially.
Yeah. Where?
Anyway, so my sister's boyfriend's family friends were also there with us in the hotel. And one of the guys was like, "You can have my salopettes." And I was like, "Oh, perfect." So he gave them to me just to borrow for the week. So I was wearing them. And then about 2 days later, his dad gave me the hardest time about wearing the salopettes and not asking him about it. It was a complete dick to me, right? And anyway, funny story, not really that funny, but turns out a few years later, the guy who gave me grief was in jail because he murdered somebody.
Yeah.
Woo! He was in charge of a lady's finances and I guess somehow ended up on her will, and he muffled her to death with a pillow. So I don't really know the relevance of that other than
you're lucky.
He could have been me.
Yeah, it could have been you. The sour pants could have been the end of you.
Sour pants with the salopettes.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. I actually this is interesting. I just thought of a funny story. I have a buddy of mine, Adam Patterson.
Okay.
Wild man. His nickname is Patterson. And he was in Atlanta, which is probably about 10, 15 years ago. And he always used to cut his own hair with like a buzz cut.
Mm-hmm.
And
I get it.
His New Year's resolution this particular year was he was going to start going to the hairdressers and get it done professionally, which is an interesting thing that you decide to do. But he'd never really been to the hairdressers. He'd always done it, solo. And so I said to him, "Oh, you need to go to my hairdressers." It was like a Supercuts or something like that. And so I drove him there, dropped him off, and I had to go run some errands, and dropped him off, whatever, picked him up a little bit later. And I go, "How was it?" He goes, "It was good, but it was interesting because I've never been to a hairdresser's before." And let me just throw in there, he's an interesting character.
Yeah, wild man.
And I go, "Why was it interesting?" And he goes, "Well, when I got there, the lady asked me what I wanted, and I did what you said, Eddie, and I said I wanted to get a shampoo and a cut and all that stuff." And so she said to him, "Go around the corner and sit in one of those chairs because we'll shampoo you first." And he went around the corner, and then a couple of, a minute later or whatever, she went around to see what he was doing or to go take care of his hair. And he was kneeling in the chair, like face on, has the little cutout in the sink. And he had his head in the sink, like this way, kneeling on the chair, like he was about to get the guillotine. Who does that?
I don't know.
Well, I tell you who does that. Somebody who's not experienced with hair salons.
Supercuts.
When was the last time you went to a hairdresser's, Mike?
I had my beard trimmed about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I went to visit my buddy Cam up in Louisville.
Uh-huh.
And it was me and Cam and Cash, and we get there, and it's Kentucky Derby, and I'm like, all right, boys, what are we gonna do tonight? We're going to the barber shop. Okay, well then what are we gonna do? Well, we'll figure it out after. All right. So we go to the barber shop, and I don't have any hair, so what the hell am I gonna do? I had a nice beard, and so the guys at the barber shop were kind enough to trim me up, and he put a heck of a line in this, and he called it a C cup or something along those lines. And he kept on showing it to me. He goes, you can't get a C cup like this anywhere else. And I guess he's right, because I haven't had one like that since then.
Huh.
It's been about a year and a half. I got my C cup done up.
Mike, do you know why mermaids have seashells right here?
Why?
Because B shells are too small and D shells are too big.
Seashells. C cups.
Anyway, New Year's resolutions.
That's it. I love it. Anything else new? I've been under the weather a little bit. I think I got a little bit of the flu last week. So Thursday through about Sunday, it's kind of out of it.
So my mom's a nurse, and she tells me all the time that the word "the flu" or that expression is way overused.
Yeah.
The flu, influenza, is serious business to
Yeah.
where you're going to hospital and you touch and go. So just so you know, you probably didn't really have the flu.
I would not have thought I had the flu, but I did my little app, my phone app, my virtual healthcare.
Oh, and it said you have the flu.
Told the lady what was going on and all that, and she said I had the flu, which I don't like to admit. I don't get sick, Ed. I don't get sick. It's something I've probably arrogantly said this over time. I've never been sick enough to not go to work, and I've never been sick enough to not go to the bar. So it depends on the definition of sick, which is odd because on Sunday I felt like shit, and I went to work at the bar for my wrestling event. But I did both, work and the bar. So
Mind over matter.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't say flu. I don't like flu. I don't like to talk about that. Whatever.
I'm not a fan of the flu shot.
I've got it one time and I got sick. So
Me too. I
Yep.
never had it. Everyone told me you got to go get the flu shot. I was like, I think I'll be all right. And then one year I went to get it from like CVS, and that was the year I got sick.
I did it at one time. I got sick that one year and didn't do it. My dad, first I tell my dad, I'm not feeling well. Did you get your flu shot? No, I didn't get my flu shot. That's why. I'm 39 years old. I've done it one time, so I haven't done it 38 times, and
You've
never
survived.
got sick.
Yeah.
I think it's about you got to keep the proper blood alcohol level, honestly. Because if you keep the proper level, it just kills all the germs.
You know, Mike, when I read about the dangers of drinking alcohol, I
Stop
stopped
reading.
Yeah. There's some theory about that, about putting a worm in tequila, but I forget what it is. Something about I don't know.
You don't see it too often anymore. Yeah, I've had some tequila the other night. You don't see the worm in the tequila too often anymore.
Wonder what happened to him.
I don't know.
Do you know why the Mexican pushed his wife off the cliff?
Why?
Tequila.
Just hanging out with some of these kids that work for us, work with us last week, and that's what so as you get older, and you are always hiring and training and promoting from within. The person at the entry level stays the same age,
Right.
And you get older. And one of the biggest challenges I've seen, professionally, is being able to still relate to and hang out with Ed and Mike in their early 20s, right? Because we sat here and spent 20 minutes talking about Elf on the Shelf, and I don't even know that that's a thing to them, right? And so I've been making it a point, a resolution, if you will. I got to spend some time with these guys that are coming in here and learn how to do this. And so we went
Stay
to
current.
These current guys.
Yeah, you
I
gotta-
have to stay current. Yes.
You got a Snapchat. You've got a Slick Slack. You got a
TikTok. TikTok. Yes. Slick Slack. Is that a thing? Slick
dong.
Slack. Beggar. Is that a thing? Slick Slack. Is something you and your furry friends do? You can't edit that out. But so So go and hang out with these kids. We're at the bar in Wheeling up the street, which if you're here in Atlanta, go to the Wheeling. It's a great
Good
spot. But someone told a joke, and you can imagine what that did. It opens up the floodgates, and you start to remember jokes. And we spent a solid hour and a half going around the table telling terrible, terrible jokes that you can't necessarily tell professionally anymore that we used to be able to get away with.
Certainly not on.
But they were very
file.
entertaining. And I tell you, everyone who sat at that table a week and a half ago is out there today having a good time. So there's something to be said for hanging out and relating and having fun and loosening up every once in a while.
As much as things change, they stay the same, Mike.
That's it. What did McConaughey say? Keep getting older, they stay the same. Right?
High school. Yeah.
What else is going on? I got a funny story. It's a bit random. So yesterday we were at my in-laws' house, New Year's Day, Southern thing. So in
Black
England,
eyed peas,
yeah,
collard
black
greens
eyed
is for
peas
money.
and collard greens. Yes,
I did that as well. Next
the
door neighbor's
coins
house.
and for the cash. So this is my 10th year. Every year, someone feels like it's necessary to explain it to me again. So this year is my wife. Like it's been 10
Yeah,
years.
you see,
honey. Like,
Michael.
I've been doing this
This is for
doing this
good
for a
luck.
quarter of my life. So yeah, the collard greens and the black eyed peas. And my the kids are running around there. They don't care about eating. They want to go out and play. Doors open, closed. Doors open all day. And after everyone ate, my son is walking the kitchen and he saw a mouse run underneath the stove.
Really?
Right, which is, I mean, that happens anywhere. But you know, my son hadn't seen a mouse, and he always, oh my God, there's a rat. Obviously, it's not a rat; it's a difference. But and
Hey, you know, I used to have a pet rat when I was a kid called Elvis. Yeah.
Are you telling a joke? Is this a
No.
setup?
But unfortunately, he got caught in a trap. Anyway, back to your mouse story.
So we set up the mouse traps and all that. But it was funny because I'm telling my mother-in-law, my father-in-law. So 1 year at the pizza place back in Kansas City when I was in college. Spring, it was like May, June. We had a mouse problem, and it wasn't just the pizza place. The pizza place was in this old rundown mall where 90% of the
Mice would hang
businesses,
out, probably.
well, but 90% of the businesses were vacant, so there's nothing there.
Yeah, but if
So
I
it's
was
really
a
tough.
mouse, that would
Correct,
probably
yeah.
be where I would hang
So
out.
it's very tough to control something like that, right?
Yeah.
But this one spring into summer in particular, terrible mice issues, and it was funny because in hindsight, I'm like, man, when we make a TV show at all, this is a solid episode where you have this mice subplot, and so me and Frank, the old man at Italian Delight, there we had a mission this week. Like we are going to exterminate these mice, and we had traps set up everywhere, and it was fruitless. Like there's nothing, not catching a mouse. We'd see a mouse, run away, and we didn't catch a damn mouse, right? And so finally, it's like Friday night, and it's slow. The restaurant is slow. There's no customers in there. There's no one eating. I'm working in front with the customers, facing, people walk in, they'd order, and I'd essentially take their order over the counter, and I'd check them out. Frank is in back, organizing the kitchen. He's making the sauce and the dough for the next day, and there's no one around, right? And we've been dealing with this mouse problem all week, and finally, 7 o'clock or so, this family of 4 walks in: husband, wife, 2 little kids, and they walk in. Hey, how are you? Frank's in back working. And they're looking at the menu.
Then did a mouse cut in front of them and order a pizza?
Yeah, he's like, oh, I want extra cheese. No, they're standing there and they don't know what they want, so they're looking at the menu board over my head. I'm just standing there waiting for them to tell me what they want, right? And if you ever heard a mouse trap go off, it's a very specific sound, and you know what it is. I mean, and then you hear the shaking of the mouse trying to shake its way out before it dies, right? And so I'm standing there waiting for them to place their order. Dead silence, and you hear, and I'm like, oh shit. And then from the back,
Would you like some mouse on that pie?
You hear the most excited little old Italian man of all time yelling from Mike, we got one, Mike, we got one, Mike, we got one. And I'm 20 years old, and I'm just deer and I'm just like staring through these people, hoping that he stops yelling about the mouse, and hoping the mouse fucking dies and stops shaking around all over the place. And They got a large pepperoni with half sausage and extra cheese.
Kept it moving.
They got it going.
Now, funnily enough, I do know what the sound of a mouse trap or a rat trap sounds like very up close. Mr. Richard Sharp, who we mentioned in episode 1, came over to visit here in Atlanta from Ireland. I think his flight landed at about 7 o'clock. At the time, I was staying in a house right by Georgia Tech, kind of midtown Atlanta. I didn't have a room. Did I have a room there? I think I was on the couch just for the summer. And anyway, Sharpie arrives. We go out on the town, and about midnight, he was done. Because it was 5 a.m. for him. Obviously Ireland's 5 hours ahead. So he goes back to the house and takes my spot on the couch in his sleeping bag. And then I think we rolled in at about 2 o'clock and saw him sleeping soundly there on the couch. So me and another guy, Devetta, Sniffer, I think Sniffer sat on him in his head, arms area. So he was trapped in the sleeping bag. And then I beat on Sharpie for a while. And then we left for some reason.
Waffle House.
Probably something like that. We left. Meanwhile, in the house, there was a little bit of a rat problem, and down in the basement was where Sniffer's room was. So Sharpie then took one of the rat traps that was down there in the basement and put it in the bottom of Sniffer's bed for Sniffer. I then come back with Sniffer from the Waffle House or wherever we'd been, and I cheekily, because I had nowhere to sleep, so I'm like, I'm going to go steal Sniffer's bed and, stake my claim before he gets in there. And I get in the bed, whack, on my toe.
Oh, Jesus.
Ginormous rat trap. And I didn't know obviously what it was. It felt like I'd been bitten by a snake maybe. It was really hot. And I looked down and there's a rat trap on my toe. Luckily, it only got the corner of my toe. Didn't break my toe, luckily. But to this day, my big toenail will grow with a big crack down the middle of it. Uncurable. Incurable.
How did Sharpie respond to catching one?
Well, my other, I think Pluggy was maybe in the lounger up there, and he said once he heard he said Sharpie just sat in the sleeping bag like this. I went, absolute madman. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up.
You know what? We started with a little magic, and I think we can end episode 2 with a little bit of that magic there as well. That's
absolutely. All right, buddy. See you on the next episode.
I'll be here.
Be well. I'll be here too.
All right.
Cheers.